Thanks, Naval. Thank you so much. Good evening, Noor Jahan, Deepika. Welcome. Okay, so in today's class, we'll continue with some topic. Okay, as you know, every Saturday you have a current affair class. So I selected few topics relevant for your exam, both for prelims as well for your mains exam. Okay. See, while discussing all the topics in today's class, I will mention this GS paper, which GS paper particular topic is belonging, and how you should cover same current affair for writing practice, answer writing practice. Okay, so first topic we'll try to discuss here called sedition law in India. Very important one. This topic is very important one. This continue in news, so you can find this type of question in your GS paper 2, in your mains exam GS paper 2. So your GS paper 2 is syllabus, you know very well that we have a polity, governance, international relation. Okay, this is given in your GS paper 2. So this is called sedition law in India. Okay, why it was in news? What exactly a sedition law? Okay, maybe in prelims they can ask you question about the sedition law. In mains exam, they will ask you relevance of sedition law in today's era. Okay, means how when India got independence. Now India have we know multiple political parties there. People are more aware about government function. On the Right to Information Act, people want to know more about government functions, their role. So whether a sedition law used by a government is for sometime this law is used for uh, raising those who are raising the voice against the government or criticizing the government. So this law is used by the government for to make them silent. So whether this is correct or not. Okay. So why it was in news? Recently, Chief Justice of India has observed that colonial law of sedition was used by British to silence Mahatma Gandhi and Bal Gangadhar Tilak. Now, sedition law was in news. Okay, it was always used by the government of India for making peace. Okay, in our country. Sometime some of the activists. Okay, they raise their voice against the government because of their raising a voice. It calls for violence in many part of our country. So whether they are using this sedition law by the government is relevant in today's politics or not. Now, Supreme Court said that Chief Justice of India, Supreme Court said that this sedition law actually purpose of the sedition law was used by a government of British government to make the silence the freedom fighters like Mahatma Gandhi and Bal Gangadhar Tilak. So how Mahatma Gandhi and Bal Gangadhar Tilak, you know, a famous first satyagraha that was started with Mahatma Gandhi was called Champaran Satyagraha. So Champaran Satyagraha, then Ahmedabad mill strike. Okay, these are some mass movement that was started with Mahatma Gandhi, where Mahatma Gandhi said that we should not cooperate with the government. We will not cooperate with the government. We have other our own voice. So you should have to fulfill our demand as per like Tinkatia system in your Champaran Satyagraha and Ahmedabad mill strike. They wanted to raise the bonus for the workers. Okay, so at that time, a British government used this sedition law to make silence all these freedom fighters, those who are raising their voice against the government. So recently, Supreme Court, ये news में क्यों है? Because recently Chief Justice of India said that it is a colonial law. Okay, it's a colonial law. Means colonial means government, British government, who use this law for the making silence of the Mahatma Gandhi. Still in present time, a government of India is using sedition law. Means the purpose is the same to make silence those who are raising voice against the government policies. So this was more means many of the activists had raised their voice recently because of COVID-19. They are not able to get proper medical facilities. Okay, about the vaccines, some scams happened in many part of India. Illegal selling of oxygen cylinder. So many of they are raising their voice against the government about their functioning. So whether this sedition law should be continued in our country or whether it should be completely removed from the Indian Penal Code. This news is all about relevance of sedition law and how you, as a student, as an aspirant, you think whether this sedition law will be continued or it should be stopped by the government of India. Okay, so what was the actual background of this law? So this observation came while Supreme Court was hearing a petition filed by Major General. Wait a second. Major General retired S.V. Bombardkar, who has challenged the section 124A of the Indian Penal Code, which deal with the offense of sedition. Okay, so actually 124, section 124A in Indian Penal Code, which talks about the offense of sedition. Those who are, see, sedition is a word, it means that if any of the person in our country by writing or by speech, okay, or by any of the media, if he is criticizing the government, and because of this criticism, if it causes a violence, okay, it causes a disturbance in any part of the country or between the group of two groups, two religious parties, two religious activities, it causes a violence, that is called a sedition. Okay, so Supreme Court, this was actually a petition filed by a Major General retired S.G. Bombardkar. He said that sedition law that is given under 124, section 124 of Indian Penal Code is actually a chilling effect. It violates the Article 90, Clause 1 of fundamental right. According to him, he said that because of sedition law, nobody in our country means raising their voice against the government. If they have any problem, they are not happy with the government policies and program, so they are not able to raise their voice because there is fear in their mind. Maybe government, with the help of sedition law, they will completely make them silence. So he said that it's like a chilling effect. Chilling effect is something like which not provide given a proper right of any of the person to enjoy their fundamental right. Okay, so under this petition law, this Major General retired as the Bombardkar said that we have a given fundamental right to freedom of speech and expression. Okay, right to speech and right to freedom of speech and expression. So this the fundamental rights completely violate because of presence of this sedition law. So he means filed a petition and requested Supreme Court that it should be a completely removed from the Indian Penal Code so that people of India raise their voice if they have actually they are facing any of the problem. Okay, this was the actual background about the all about the news. Okay, so in his plea, Bombardkar has challenged the constitutional validity of the sedition law on the ground that it has chilling effect on speech and poses an unreasonable restriction on the fundamental right of free expression. Now here mentioned about the fundamental right means your fundamental right is somewhere is violating. So which fundamental right? This is actually article 19(1) clause A, which explain the clearly mentioned that under article 91A the constitution guarantees India's citizen freedom of speech and expression. Means you have to you can say anything, you have a freedom to speech and you can express, but there is some limitation also. Okay, when you will read about the article 91, 19(1) clause A, it clearly mentioned after the end of this article that government can apply a restriction on your this freedom of speech and expression if it will be cause any violation, it will be disturb unity integrity of our country. Okay, so in such a on such a ground government can ban this right. Okay, but overall it said that government in any case any of voice any of the activists when they are raising their voice against the government, you always use this sedition law. Means the sedition law should be present, but it should not be used multiple times on every occasion. Okay, it should be a limited, it should be a in those area which really it cause a violence in any part of the country. It doesn't mean that if any one person is raising their voice for a basic needs, for medical purpose, for a food purpose, they're not able to get a food, they're not able to get a job, they're not able to get a better education. If in such a case, if any of the person is raising their voice in such area, in such cases, government should not use us this sedition law. This is actual. Okay. Now, what was the let's talk about the sedition law in detail. What about the sedition law? This is important for your prelims purpose. In prelims exam, they can ask you a question about sedition law. Okay, the sedition law is given in your section 124 of IPC Indian Penal Code, and it was introduced by British government in 1870 to tackle dissent against colonial rule. So you know during 1870, okay, 1857 it was the year when a first revolt of 1857, you know very well, when a part of India, a few part of India, where local leaders, okay, local leaders along with their local people, they raised their voice against the government. Okay, although the purpose was very different, but it was the first fight against the government of British government. Okay, so it was introduced in 1870 British government, because British government very rapidly spread in every part of the India, and they controlled over administrative, they control over the economy, they control over your judicial system, so that they want such law, the one law should be there. If any of the freedom fighter, if any of the person in India, if they are raising voice against the British government, so that they can able to make them silence. So that's why it was introduced in 1870. Okay, now original draft of the IPC actually, when it was originally drafted by the British government in 1816. In 1816, when it was drafted, there was nothing mentioned about sedition law, but it was because of Thomas Babington Macaulay. Okay, Thomas Babington Macaulay, he was a very famous person. He was a person responsible for introduction of Western education in India. Okay, so you read about the Macaulay report. Okay, Thomas Babington Macaulay in 1870. So original draft of the IPC, which was enacted in 1860, did not consist of this law, and the section was drafted by Thomas Babington Macaulay in 1870. It was the which was a person called Thomas Babington Macaulay who introduced, who because of him this sedition law was further added in Indian Penal Code in 1870. Okay. Now, what actually 124 section 124A states sedition law? What actually sedition law said? Okay. So whoever words either spoken or written, either you can spoken, you can say anything, or you can write, or by sign, by some symbols. You can use the symbols there, because of that can also disturb the sentiments of different religious people if you are using a different symbols. Okay, or by visible representation, or otherwise bring or brings or attempt to bring into hatred or contempt, or excites or attempt to excite disaffection towards the government established by law in India, shall be punished with imprisonment for life, to which, okay, imprisonment life, to which fine may be added, or with imprisonment which may extend to 3 years, or which fine may be added, or with fine. It means sedition law said that if any person, whoever, or whoever means anyone, either their words, if they speak any words, for example, in India, means many of the religious groups are there. Okay, different beliefs, ideology, persons are there. Some of the believe in God, some of the believe in, they doesn't believe in God. Okay, either by spoken or written, if he write, okay, by and they paste something anywhere, or by signs, or by visible representation, or otherwise, because of spoken or written, or by showing all these things, if any disturbance or any violence is started any part of India, in such case that person should be penalized under Indian Penal Code. And what type of punishment is given? Imprisonment for life. Okay, to which may be a fine that will be decided by the court. And also if the spoken words or written words, if it is not cause so much disturbance, little bit disturbance, it will be for 3 years, or maybe fine. Okay, so this is given under section 124A state, 124 of under the Indian Penal Code. Okay, now you very well understood what exactly is sedition law. So till now, what we have studied about sedition law, recently Chief Justice of India said that this sedition law actually used by a colonial government, actually British government, for what is the purpose of the sedition law? It was added in 1870 in Indian Penal Code. Actually, the Thomas Babington Macaulay was the person behind, responsible for means who addition of this sedition law under Indian Penal Code. And the purpose was to those anyone, any freedom fighter, any person in India who are raising their voice against the British government, so that make them silence. So there is very famous case like Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Mahatma Gandhi also arrested. Okay, V.D. Savarkar also arrested whenever they raised their voice against the British government. Okay. Now, In 19th and 20th century, the law was used primarily to suppress the writing and speeches of prominent Indian nationalists and freedom fighters. Now, it was in 19th and 20th century, when you will read a modern India, you will find that this is a time when freedom fighters are raising their voice against the government. Okay, they are continuously raising their voice against the government. They are by the help of printing some paper. Okay, by they're collecting the peoples at one place. Okay, motivating the mass. Okay, to raise their voice against the government. So in the 19th and 20th century, the law was used primarily to suppress the writing and speeches of prominent Indian nationalists and freedom fighters. Okay, the first known instance of the application of the law was trial of newspaper editor Joginder Chandra Bose in 1891. So in 1891, okay, when Joginder Chandra Bose he published a newspaper where clearly mentioned about criticize the government, British government. Means people should know actual policy, actual means intention behind for setup of industries, setup of a railway line, okay, setup of means some telephone booths in different part of India. What actually British government want. So that was the published by the Joginder Chandra Bose in 1891, and that was the first person who was basically faced trial under a sedition law. Other major example application of the law include the trials of Bal Gangadhar Tilak, okay, Mahatma Gandhi, Jawaharlal Nehru, Abul Kalam Azad, and Vinayak Damodar Savarkar. So V.D. Savarkar, famous one, who all means faced trial under sedition law whenever they raised their voice. So two most important the case study here. I will find the first about the Mahatma Gandhi in 1922. So 1921 was the time when a non-cooperation movement was started. Okay, Khilafat movement, non-cooperation movement was the time after the completion of Satyagraha against the Rowlatt Act in 1919. Okay, it was the Rowlatt Act when Gandhi ji was first started a movement, mass movement against the British government for Rowlatt Act. And after this, a non-cooperation movement was also started. Along with the non-cooperation movement, Khilafat movement was started. And after the Khilafat movement, a new Swadeshi party was formed and Gandhi ji was arrested. So in 1922, Gandhi was arrested on charge of sedition in Bombay for taking part in protest against the colonial government and was sentenced to 6 years in prison. But he was not trialed for whole 6 years because he was released after 2 years because of medical reason. So it was under sedition law. Mahatma Gandhi was also arrested. Bal Gangadhar Tilak also faced the 3 trials in case related to the sedition and was imprisoned twice. So what is the purpose of knowing all this background about the sedition law? Whenever you will write answer in mains exam about the sedition law and their relevance in today's era in India, whether they should be continue or should be stopped by the government of India, you can use the passing reference. Okay, you can use the about the Gandhiji and Tilak, who already means a purpose of colonial government was to make them silence. But nowadays, when India got independence, we have a fundamental right, means right to freedom of speech and expression. Whether it should be a continue or not, this is depend on discretion of the government. Okay. Now Tilak faced the 3 trials under sedition law. In 1897, he was charged with sedition for writing an article in his weekly publication called Kesari and was sentenced to 12-month imprisonment. So Kesari and Marathi. Okay, this was the 2 important weekly publication that was started by Bal Gangadhar Tilak. Okay, maybe in exam, in prelims, they can ask you question. Already UPSC in prelims exam, they had a question about freedom fighters and their book or newspaper. Okay, which newspaper published by which freedom fighter? Okay, this journal published by which freedom fighter? So Kesari and Maratha or Marathi, 2 important journal that was started by Bal Gangadhar Tilak. Okay, so in 1908, he was tried against for his writing and was represented by Muhammad Ali Jinnah. So this background you should know. What was the purpose of sedition law and when it was started and how British government used this sedition law to make silence the freedom fighter. Okay. Now, question is here whether it should be continue or not. Supreme Court continuously say that ask the government whether this should be a sedition law should be continue or not. So what is your opinion? When Supreme Court asks the government of India, what is your opinion? What you say about sedition law? How you can say it should be a continue? What is your point? Okay, so government said that Section 124 of the Indian Penal Code has its utility in combating anti-national, secessionist, and terrorist elements in India. Nowadays, you know very well, northeastern state, even Jammu and Kashmir, and some part of India also, uh, small section of groups of people who have their own same ideology. They wanted a separate government. They wanted separate country, like in Assam, Bodo, Satyagraha, they always want a separate country. They wanted to isolate from rest of the India. Okay, like in Jammu and Kashmir, you know how this type of same-minded people are started. They're raising the voice against the government. Naxalism in India is again a major problem. Terrorist group in India, a different part of India, also terrorist group attacked several times. So to government said that this sedition law should be a continue in our country, because this is a one tool through which we can able to combat these anti-national elements, like those who are means raising a voice, means deliberately they are making a situation where a violence is started. Okay, such type of anti-national activities should be completely stopped if we have a one tool like sedition law. So government is in favor. He said that it should be a continue, it should be present, it should be a present, it should be a part of Indian Penal Code, so that we can in future, if any such anti-national activities or secessionist or terrorist elements that happen in our country, that should be completely stopped. Okay, what government further say that it protect the elected government from attempts to overthrow the government with violence and illegal means. Okay, so government that is elected government. This is government is actually elected by the people of India. Okay, we have a republic. So people of India elected the government. Where we have a stable government. Okay, at the center and also state government. So many of the means non-state actors. Okay, state actors and non-state actors are important one, who always raising their voice against the government. They always try to do some disturbance in a country. Okay, they don't like government. If any of the government is running stable, they are running with a good policies, provide a good policy. They are looking for education, for health infrastructure, looking for all needs of the people, welfare approach. If any of the government is means fulfilling all these things. So many of the non-state actors are want to create disturbances, so that elected government should be always be protected because of some such type of violence or illegal means. Okay, the continued existence of the government established by law is an essential condition for of the stability of the state. So suppose you think yourself, what will happen if government after election, within a 1 month, within a 2 month, again a government will be means again it will create a disturbance in parliament. Again a government, a new party will again elected. So continuously such type of disturbance always create a problem in our country. We are not able to focus on our actual need. Okay, we if our internal security, if internal environment will be okay, then we can protect our country from external threats also. Okay, so to protect our country from external threat, what actually required here is we want a stable government. Okay, stability is very important, so that government can continue to take action. Okay, continue to make up policies regarding any of the areas where we are lacking a problems. Okay, so that existence of the government established by law is an essential condition of the stability of the state. Now, in many districts in different states face a moist insurgency like Naxalism, okay, and rebel groups. Some rebel groups are also small groups. They now have access some weapon also. Now these weapons, they're using such weapons and are raising the voice against the government. Okay, rebel groups virtually run a parallel administration. So what is the parallel administration? You know, this concept you will see most in a Naxalism. We know very well this is called left-wing extremism. Okay, so many districts in different states face the most insurgency and rebel groups. Okay, these groups openly advocate the overthrow of the state government by revolution. So by revolution, okay, means are they are actually, Naxalis, what their opinion, their ideology is, they want to make a mass that they should not believe on the government. They want to convince the village people that you always raise voice against the government. And very one of our prime minister said that if you want to end this Maoist problem or insurgency, or Naxalist problem in our country, the only one tool is here, that is development, providing a better education, develop a trust between people and the government. Once a trust will be developed between people and the village people, government, then obviously the ideology, the means motive behind for spread of Maoist and Naxalism in different part of the country will be stopped. Okay, so this group openly advocate the overthrow the state government by revolution. Therefore, there is a need to retain the provision to effective combat anti-national, secessionist, and terrorist element. So these are the some point been said by the government of India. Government said that to, the answer to Supreme Court question, whether when Supreme Court asked a question to the government of India, what is your opinion regarding sedition law, whether it should be continued or not. So these are the point means represented by the government of India, that sedition law should be important for running a stable government, for combating all the anti-national activities in India. So that cause for the disturbance in our country. Okay. Now, what Supreme Court earlier talked about the sedition law? It was actually sedition law always a case filed in the Supreme Court or High Court about the sedition law. So sedition law earlier stand of the Supreme Court is the sedition law has been challenged several times over the last few years, but it has managed to survive all of the challenges against it. Now, a famous case here is called Kedarnath versus Union of India, 1962. You can write this case, okay, Kedarnath versus Union of India case, 1962. The Supreme Court upheld the constitutional validity of the sedition law while trying to curtail its misuse. Okay, so he said that the constitutional validity of the Supreme Court sedition law should be a present. Okay, and misuse should be its government should not it as for other purpose also. Means a lot of the cases here seen where government is misusing this sedition law. Okay, the court upheld the law on the basis that this power was required by the state to protect itself. Supreme Court said that this sedition law should be important. Okay, but government should not use sedition law every time. Okay, however, it had added the vital caveat that a person could be prosecuted for sedition only if he acts cause incitement to violence or intention or tendency to create public disorder or cause disturbance of public peace. So Supreme Court said that a person could be prosecuted under sedition law if person is causing any such type of incitement, okay, type of violence or intention or tendency to create public disorder or cause disturbance of public peace. It means that because of spoken word, by writing, by using a symbol, or by any other means, if it create any type of a situation where a violence is started or likely to start, ho bhi gaya hai, okay, in such case a person must be prosecuted. Okay, it also added that unless accompanied by an incitement or call for violence, criticism of the government cannot be leveled as sedition. Okay, Supreme Court clearly mentioned under Kedarnath versus Union of India 1962 case that if any of the means spoken word or by writing, if it create a violence in any part of India, then it should be a call that should be a called as sedition. But if anyone is criticizing government, okay, for a policy, for example, few months back, many activists are criticizing government regarding health infrastructure. Okay, in our country, they are not able to get a proper vaccine. Many of the people are dying because they are not able to get oxygen cylinder. They're not able to get a required bed in hospitals, so that the ventilators was not available, and people are dying because of they're not able to get a proper treatment. So in such a case, if anyone is criticizing government, that could not be considered as a sedition. Okay, Supreme Court clearly mentioned this. But government also using sedition law for those persons who are raising the voice against for a basic needs. This is the case. Okay, that's why retired general said it's called chilling effect that completely violate your fundamental right. Okay, Supreme Court laid down that every citizen has right to say or write about the government by way of criticism or comment, as long as it does not incite people to violence against the government established by law or with the intention of creating public disorder. Supreme Court said that this is the right given to each and every person. Those who are citizen of India, okay, they have a right to criticize the government Okay, but your criticism should not cause inside people to do a violence. Okay, you should we all are also involved in power means criticizing the government. Okay, we always watch government policies very clearly. If we feel that this policy should be there is some loopholes, or there should be some changes required in a given policy, or changes required by the approach of the government for helping the poor, or doing some representing some law in India. So in that case, we should write a comment, or we should criticize. Criticism should be also in such a way that it should be it not cause violence in any part of our country. Okay. Earlier in September 2016, again Supreme Court had reiterated this necessary safeguard and held that they should be followed by all authorities, and it should be followed by all authorities who are means whether state government, local government, central government, everybody should follow this law. Okay, this law is important for anti-national threats. Now, latest ruling of the Supreme Court about this sedition law, a three-judge bench led by Justice D.Y. Chandrachud flagged an indiscriminate use of sedition law against critics, journalists, social media users, activists, and citizens for airing their grievances about the government's COVID-19 management. Okay, so three-judge bench led by Justice Chandrachud said that indiscriminate use of sedition law. Okay, against the critics, those who are like journalists, social medias users, and activists, even the citizens who are have a problem, they have a grievances, they are complain against the government about the COVID-19 management, or even seeking help to gain medical access, equipment, drugs, and oxygen cylinder, especially during the second wave of the pandemic. So, latest ruling, the Supreme Court said that indiscriminate use, government is using indiscriminately all this sedition law. Those who are raising their voice against for the basic needs also. Okay, the ambit and parameter of the provision of this section 124A, 153A, and 5 of the IPC 1860 would require interpretation, particularly in the context of right of the electronic and print media to communicate news, information, and the rights, even those that may be critical for prevailing design in any part of the nation. Okay, so there are three important sections here: 124A, 153A, and 505 of IPC 1860, which require interpretation. Okay, interpretation there should, because these are very old. It was in 1860 when this all law was inserted. Now it's required some changes because we know right at present time we have electronic media that more digital. Okay, that social media is also we are using, that spread the news very rapidly. Okay, so what actually the 153 section 153A say that punishes acts promoting enmity between different groups on ground of religion, race, place of birth, residence, language, and doing acts prejudicial to maintain or maintenance of harmony. Okay, so it's 153A means those who are engaged in any type of means a statement that cause a means a disturbance among the religious groups. Okay, among the races, place of birth. On the basis of place of birth, you are criticizing, or you are spoken some words that are not good on the basis of residence, language. Okay, if you are engaged in any type activity, you will be punished under 153A. Indian Penal Code. Okay, it is actually Indian Penal Code that have all the important. If you are doing any crime, any type of crime in India, if any person is tried, okay, suppose you have done any of the crime. So how means much year, how much year you will be imprisoned, how much fine you should be will be given. So all these are given under Indian Penal Code. Okay, so it's like all the like how we read constitution about the articles are given, what actually your right, what is your duty, what is government duty, what is state government duty, that is given in article 1 to article all these things. Similarly, Indian Penal Code have all these sections that deal with different types of crimes in our country, and what type of punishment should be given to each and every type of crimes, that is clearly mentioned. Okay, so section 5 and 5 say that makes the publication and circulation of content which may cause ill will or hatred between different groups an offense. Okay, so publication and circulation, like during the time of British, when British government ruled in our country, So our freedom fighter actually during 1985 Swadeshi movement, that when it was started in 1985, when Bengal was partitioned. So that time our we have a moderate, okay, extremist, you know very well, moderate and extremist. So now extremists are believe in violence. They believe in mass struggle. They believe the power of mass. They always find a solution that we should start a violence against the government so that we able to stop the British government. But moderates have different ideology. They are believe in circulating the pamphlets, okay, writing a news in newspaper, journals, to raise awareness among the people so that they know the actual intention behind the government. So Section 505 says that if you are publication, if you are doing a publication of any type of thing, circulating the pamphlets, okay, that means create a one hatred between the different groups, two religious groups, two minority groups, okay, one areas northeastern people and rest of the India. If you are circulating any type of these things, that also maybe start anti-national activities in India. Now, the court acknowledged that the argument that media was well within its right to air critical programs about the prevailing regime without attracting seditions. Okay, so this is the right given to the media that they can use programs that criticize the government. That will be not come under the sedition law of the government. What should be the way forward, means what should in future, if you want to suggest about whether sedition law should be a continue, or if it should be continue, then how it should be used by the government of India. So you know very well, India being the largest democracy in the world has to ensure, wait a second, has to ensure that it's essential ingredient of free speech and expression. Okay, free speech and expression is very important ingredient so that we can say a democracy country. The expression or thought that is not in consonance with the policy of the government of the day should not be considered sedition. Okay, if you are raising a voice against the government, okay, that voice should not be a considered sedition. Okay, if you are talking about the mismanagement of the government, okay, mismanagement of the government, or you're not able to get a basic rights, so in the such a case it should not be a citizen. Government should understand those who are raising a voice. They should understand about the difference among the intention, whether the people any person is raising the voice for the basic needs, or they are means intention here is to create a violence. Now, the Law Commission has rightly said that an expression of frustration over the state of affair cannot be treated as sedition. Okay, if a nation is not open to positive criticism, there would be no difference between pre and post independence era. Okay, Law Commission said that if positive criticism is very important here, that's why Article 19 is available for the right to freedom of speech and expression. You can speak, you can raise your voice against the basic needs. Okay, because you are electing the government. Government is not here monarchy form of government. Here represented government is actually elected by the people of India. So that if people are not able to get their basic needs, so they can use a voice. So if government is still using a sedition law, they means stopping their voice, then what should be a difference between India before independence and after independence? After independence means we should have a right, we can utilize our right. Government should hear all issues, whatever issues that happen in India. Okay, it is also essential to protect the national integrity. Okay, given the legal opinion and the views of the government in favor of the law, it is unlikely that Section 124A will be scrapped soon. However, it should not be misused as tool to curb free speech. Okay, so we have to protect our national integrity. Okay, and legal opinion and the views of the government in favor of the law, it is unlikely that Section 124 will be scrapped soon. It is not will be a good decision for scrapping removing Section 124A. It should be a present, it should be used, but not misused. Okay, to curb a free speech. That should be a main thing here. We have to understand. Okay, so in mains exam, they can ask you your opinion, or they can ask you about the criticism about the critically analyze the sedition law that present in India. Do you think that it should be continue, or do you think that it because of the presence of this sedition law, it always violate our fundamental right, that is freedom of speech and expression? So you have to write a clear cut answer about the sedition law, when it was started. It was started in 1870, but it was started by the British government. So purpose of the British government was to rule entire India. They are their welfare approach. Welfare word was not in the mind of the British government. Actually, they wanted to rule all over the India. Okay, they wanted to exploit the resources. Okay, they're not thought about the development. They're not thought about the weaker section of the society. Okay, so that their purpose was very different. But when India got independence, now every people should enjoy their rights. Okay, every people should enjoy their basic needs. Now we, our country's purpose, government purpose is welfare approach, which we are talking about inclusive growth. Okay, we are talking about sustainable development. So growth should be not only available to a rich person, it should be also given to a poor section of the society. Everybody should able to enjoy the benefit of growth. So in such a case, if anyone like our basic need is good infrastructure, electricity, water, clean air, okay, a good education system, health infrastructure, okay, children's education, women's right. We are talking about women empowerment. Okay, no any violence against the women. Okay, all these things are should be protected by the government. In such a case, if government is lacking, government is not able to focus on such area, if anyone is raising their voice, that voice should not be a part of sedition. Okay, this clear cut also said by a Supreme Court, and in future government should also follow the same thing. Okay, they can use sedition law for anti-national activities. Okay, like terrorist, Naxalis, they are major threat for our internal security. We have to remove them. We have to protect. Our country should be protected from such type of internal threats. Okay, for that purpose, sedition law is very important. Okay, so this news is for GS paper 2. Okay, maybe in prelims or mains they can ask you question. Now our next question, next news here is called Mekong-Ganga cooperation. Okay, it was also in news. 21 July 2021, it was in news. Okay. So on July 21, 2021, while addressing the 11th Mekong-Ganga Cooperation meeting, S. Jaishankar, India's External Affairs Minister, has called for a collective and collaborative response of a government may lead to distract government from development work. Yes, unnecessary criticism is not required here. Okay, you should, for example, if like in during the second wave of COVID-19, you all know very well that how health infrastructure in our country was disturbed. People are not able to get a proper treatment in hospitals. So many of the people are died. If anyone raising voice against the government regarding better treatment or availability of the oxygen cylinder, then this will be considered necessary criticism, and it should not be considered as a sedition. Okay, उसको sedition नहीं कह सकते हैं. Unnecessary means then in such a case, sedition law should be a present, and government should stop silence those person who are raising voice unnecessarily that disturb the unity and integrity of our country. See, already in UPSC prelims they had a question about the Mekong-Ganga cooperation. For prelims purpose, this news is important. Okay, out of total, if you will say in 100, I will say 60% this news is important for your prelims purpose. In mains exam, they cannot, UPSC will not ask you direct question on Mekong-Ganga cooperation, but if you are right about India's cooperation in South Asia or India foreign relation, okay, India's role in foreign neighborhood first policy, all these things. So in that case, Mekong-Ganga cooperation you can write as a passing reference. Okay, so recently our foreign minister said that this collective and collaborative response to effectively deal with ongoing coronavirus pandemic, saying that national boundaries are not respected by this virus. Okay, so those you have to first understand the countries who are member of Mekong-Ganga cooperation. Which of the following country are the part of Mekong-Ganga cooperation? And all these countries' leaders should be join hand together to fight and to deal with a situation that is not in India, not all over the world. A virus is spreading. How should we should deal with such type of pandemic? Okay, so इसके वजह से ये news में था. But see, this is the UPSC. Okay, UPSC will not ask a question any of the question that was in means why it was in news. Okay, why it was Mekong Ganga Cooperation was in news recently. They can ask you a question about the Mekong Ganga Cooperation. See, in prelims, purpose of the prelims exam, whether you should know organization well or not, whether you know you are aware about this organization or not, whether you know India is a member of this Mekong Ganga Cooperation or not. This is the main purpose in prelims exam. Once you will clear prelims in mains exam, you have to write more or you have to know more about this Mekong Ganga Cooperation. Now, it is an initiative by 6 countries. Okay, so India and 5 ASEAN countries. Very well, you will when you will see such in map is very important. Whenever you read such type of news organization, you must see a map. Okay, where all these countries are located. So it is a cooperation initiated by the 6 countries. One is called India and 5 ASEAN countries, namely Cambodia, Laos, PDR, Myanmar, okay, Thailand, Vietnam, for cooperation in tourism. Now remember, this is the keyword here: tourism, culture, education, as well as transport and communication. Very simple. Mekong Ganga Cooperation is an initiative 6 countries, India and 5 ASEAN countries. For all these countries are very well connected with each other. There is no any water bodies among these countries. So very well we can transport and communication. With the help of transport and communication, we can promote tourism, culture, education very well. Okay, it was launched in 2000 at Ventian Law PDR. Okay, so this Mekong Ganga actually the name of 2 rivers. Okay, Ganga and Mekong are the civilization rivers, and the Mekong Ganga Cooperation initially aims to facilitate closer contacts among the people inhabiting these 2 major river basins. So those means places that are located very close to these river basins, there means development is more important. Okay, so Mekong Ganga Cooperation is also indicative of the cultural and commercial linkages among the member countries of the Mekong Ganga Cooperation down the centuries. Now, with the help of map, you can see all this name of the countries, like India is here, then Myanmar, then okay, Laos, Thailand, Cambodia, then Vietnam. All means total 6 countries are involved here under Mekong Ganga Cooperation. Okay, now you see very well how these countries are more land connected. Okay, land connected. So road is also India. There is one road, national highway, international highway is also proposed that connect all 6 countries. Okay, so that we are doing a trade through a road with the help of road. Tourism will be a more promoted, education, cultural, as all these countries culturally more linked with each other. Like Buddhism culture is you will see more in Cambodia, Thailand. Buddhism that originate in India and also spread in this part of the Southeast Asian countries. Okay, and BIMSTEC, one more BIMSTEC, also a one important international organization where all these countries are member. Okay, so now what are the important key points here? So India considers the Mekong region of a great importance and hence seeks multi-dimensional engagement with Mekong countries. Okay, so this is important regions in terms of education purpose, in terms of tourism, because India also want tourism is one important sector which improve the economic condition of any of the countries. So India's economic, likely northeastern states are more connected with this Southeast Asian countries. So if more connection will be, people will become visited. Okay, so obviously it will promote tourism, employment will be also improved. Okay, India wants to identify new areas of cooperation, and doing so will broaden the partnership of the countries. Okay, so India wants to identify the new areas of cooperation. New area of cooperation means like education, health, tourism, all this activity. Addressing the meeting, as Jaishankar said that India wants to promote better connectivity in this region through economic, digital, and people-to-people connectivity. So what Jaishankar said that India wants to promote better connectivity. How better connectivity will be there? Through economic, digital, and people-to-people connectivity. Okay, wait a second. Okay, so our external affairs minister said that a better connectivity in this region is required for economy, digital, and people-to-people connectivity. In the meeting, finding way to fight against the pandemic through better Mekong-Ganga cooperation partnership was reflected upon. So, how this all six countries should join hand together and to deal with this pandemic situation, COVID-19 coronavirus pandemic situation. So, Jaishankar, our foreign minister, said that the partner nation need to work together in addressing the crisis. Means they are helping with each other. And India government will be export some medical means devices to these countries, or they can also import some important uh, hospital ingredient, important utensils like cylinders, okay, ventilator. All these things are required. So India said that Mekong Ganga operation stand on a strong foundation based on shared historical and geographical ties, and cooperation among countries should be improved to bring progress and prosperity. Okay, now after Mekong Ganga cooperation, we have another important news that is called Build Back Better World Initiative, or you can see B3W. It's called Build Back Better World Initiative. This again read with your GS paper 2, International Relation. Okay, it's called Build Back Better World Initiative. For prelims, in prelims, they can ask you question. Build Back Better World Initiative was recently started by which of the following organizations? Maybe in option they can ask you BRICS. Okay, BRICS, maybe BIMSTEC, SARC, or G7, G20. This is an initiative G20, G7. This is the initiative of United Nations Security Council. So actually, Build Back Better World Initiative is the initiative of G7 countries. Okay. Now we have to understand what is the purpose of this Build Back Better World Initiative. That recently it was started under G7. All the countries, all the member of, all the government of this G7 countries said that they will start one initiative called Build Back Better World Initiative. So why it was in news? The G7 countries proposed the Build Back Better World initiative. It is at the recent 47 G7 summit to counter China's Belt and Road Initiative. Now, very well, you know, here the purpose of this Build Back Better World initiative is to counter China's Belt and Road Initiative. Okay, see China's how influence of China increased in Asia and European countries. So that now the seven largest in you can say economy, major economy of the world. Okay, now they all join hand together against the China's in this policy called China's Belt and Road Initiative. Okay, so big Build Back Better World. What actually this meaning of the concept? What why this G7 started this initiative? We know very well it is to counter China's Belt and Road Initiative. So what main objective behind for starting this initiative? Okay, an affirmative initiative for meeting the tremendous infrastructure needs of low and middle income countries. Before you have to understand Build Back Better World initiative by the G7 country, you should know China's Belt and Road Initiative. What is the purpose of this China's Belt and Road Initiative? This purpose is to develop infrastructure in Asia, Africa, and some part of the Europe. Okay, this is the three continent that is covered by the China's under Belt and Road Initiative. I will show in a map how a sea route and one land route and other one is sea route. They all these routes are spread very rapidly in different part of the countries from the China. And the main purpose of this Belt and Road Initiative China is infrastructure development in poor countries, so that poor countries should China should dominate them. Okay, in future, whenever any type war will be start or any situation will be happen where China can able to control very easily the small countries, the poor countries. That is the main purpose. China already started in 2000 China Belt and Road Initiative that will be completed in 2049. The project will be completed 2049 Belt and Road Initiative. Okay, so main purpose of China is for China say this is a project where they want to develop infrastructure in those countries which have poor. Okay, actually China intention is to set up a military base in different part of the South Asia or Asia or a part of the Europe, so that they can able to control these countries in the time of war, and they can also transport, they can also export all the finished products. China is actually looking for a market. Okay, all their cheap products are they can able to sell in different part of the world. Okay, so this is the main purpose of China's Belt and Road Initiative. Now, G7 country now understood the intention behind for China's Belt and Road Initiative. Now they started, they think that there is a lack of infrastructure development in low and middle income countries. That's why China policy is very rapidly spread in different part of the Africa and Asia and European countries. Okay, some part of these European countries. So before China should dominate, we should start an initiative called Build Back Better World. We should also fulfill, we should also do the same thing. Actually, there is a why most of the countries, small countries are requesting China. They accept the China's offer because they want infrastructure development. Any country, even India also want a infrastructure development. We want a better education, we want a better road connectivity, railway connectivity. Okay, so that transportation system will be okay, people will not face any type of problem, be able to get a proper energy. Okay, means electricity that should be available. This is the need for each and every country. Now China understood very earlier this intention, this all needs of the low income country. Okay, but G7 countries now in 2021 they thought about these things, so that they started to fulfill this demand of the low and middle income countries with focus on climate, health, digital technology, and gender equality and equity. So main objective of Build Back Better World. Better World indicator, better world means clean sustainable development, where we talk about that world should be free from polluted air, that should be free from water polluted. Okay, available clean water, clean air should be available. Everybody should have a good health. Okay, everybody should have their own employment opportunity should be given to each and every person. Okay, so Build Back Better World, an affirmative initiative for meeting the tremendous infrastructure needs of low and middle income countries. Not only infrastructure is needed here, also focus on climate. This is not the over exploitation of resources, and we are not we are concerned, we are not, we have no any concern about the climate. We already know the problem started because of release of more carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, global warming. Okay, climate change, this also brings some changes. You can say climatic changes seen in different part of the world. So our purpose here is infrastructure development is required. Good clean energy should be given to each and every country. Sustainable development, our main purpose is sustainable development. We have to also protect our environment. Not over exploitation cause disturbance of environment. It is not for the infrastructure development means we will do a deforestation. Okay, and we are cleaning the huge forest area. Okay, this is not the main purpose. Purpose here is infrastructure development, along with we should focus on. Yes, I will talk about which of the all countries are the part of G7. Okay, because whenever you read anything about G7, this type of groups, you should know the history of this G7. Which of the following countries are the part? So I will show you countries who are the member of G7. Okay, so first you have to understand Build Back Better World initiative that was started with G7 country, and the purpose is for infrastructure development in low and middle income countries, along with focus on climate, health, digital technology, and gender equality and equity. Now, this is called Belt and Road Initiative of China, are perceived as a corrosive tactics. Okay, it's called corrosive tactics or debt trap. It is used by China. It's called debt trap. Now, China offer infrastructure development. China is not. Suppose China, if you visited Sri Lanka, okay, and Sri Lanka will talk to Sri Lanka government, said that I will do an investment in your country. You have to no need to worry. You no need to give any amount. Okay, I will just you will give money after whenever you have, means after 100 years, after 50 years, whenever you have a sufficient money, you can give me. Let me do investment in your country for infrastructure development. So any country who will come under this trap, okay, if China accept the policy of China, that country will come under debt trap. Now, this country will never fulfill, they never return all amount, whatever amount invested by the China, because this is a huge amount. This huge amount invested by China, and this is not possible for the small country to return back all this principal amount and their interest. So what this country will do, they will accept all the proposal of the China, and this tactics is called a debt traps. Okay, so main led by China for its strategic dominance in trade, foreign policy, and geopolitics in the world. The overall focus is on developing transportation, logistics, and communication, which could reduce trade and transaction cost of China's trade, give more market access to Chinese market, and ensure a stable supply of energy and other resources. Now, under the Belt and Road Initiative, this is all profit will given to a China. China is never do investment for a profit of other country. China is always looking their own profit. How China will gain a profit by little bit doing investment, $100 million. If China is doing investment, is thinking about how they can earn $1,000 million from a particular location. If China is doing $100 million investment in your Sri Lanka, okay, so China in future, China is planning that in coming 50 years, how they can able to earn $1,000 million from Sri Lanka. So this is the main purpose. How they can able to export their products to different part of the world without any disturbance, without any means high prices. Okay, so China is actually looking for a market access to Chinese market and ensure a stable supply of energy and other resources. This is the main objective of Belt and Road Initiative of China. Now let's talk about some points about the G7 country. What exactly G7? So G7 actually it was originally called G8. Okay, and it was set up in 1975 as an informal forum bringing together the leader of the world's leading industrial nation. So all the countries who are member of G7, they are belong to a they are all are major industrialist country of the world. Okay, the summit gathered leaders from the European Union and the following countries called Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, United Kingdom, and United States. The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These are 7 countries. Okay, these 7 countries are the member of G7. Okay, so leaders from the European Union and the following countries: Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, and United Kingdom and United States. The major purpose of G7 is to discuss and deliberate on international economic issues. Okay, to discuss international economy means financial crisis. Okay, it happened if that if happened all over the world. If price of oil is increases, okay, crude oil prices increases, then how this country, all these countries should take a decision how to reduce the prices, how to do means stable trade, like WTO, World Trade Organization was set up. A main purpose is to how smooth trade happen among the countries. Prices of fuel should not be a rise, okay, so that it will be not cause of fluctuation in different part of the world because of rising of price of these things. Maybe a dollar will be depreciate or appreciation. These things are happening. It sometimes act in a concern to help resolve other global problems with a special focus on economic issues. That was the main purpose behind for setup of G7. In the how you should remember the name of the countries, this diagram will help you to remember G7, G20. Okay, now G7, the countries like present Germany, we have UK, okay, France, Canada, US, Italy, and Japan. These are the 7 countries. Actually, it was a G8. Russia was actually removed. Okay, it was G8. Initially, it was known as G8, but now it is known as G7. And the G20 countries, these all are G20 countries. Turkey, European Union, Argentina, Brazil, South Korea, Mexico, China, Indonesia, Saudi Arabia, Australia, India, and South Africa. See, in prelims exam, one question will be there where they can ask you which of the following country is not the part of G7. Which of the following country? India is the part of which of the following organization where India is not the member? Okay, so remember G20, name of the country is G8 and G7. This diagram will help you to remember all these countries. Now, how did G7 become a G8? Okay, Russia was formally inducted as a member in the group in 1998, which led G7 to become G8. Okay, in 1998, when Russia became the member of G7, however, Russia President uh, Vladimir Putin's condemnable act of moving Russia troops into eastern Ukraine and conquering Crimea in 2014 drew heavy criticism from the other G8 nations. So, because of Russia, means when they occupied Crimea in 2014, it was raised a voice by the all 7 countries, all G7 countries, and because of this reason, Russia was decided to suspend. Other nations decided to suspend Russia from G8 As a consequence, its nation and the group became G7 again in 2014. So remember, Russia joined in 1980, 1999, 1998, and again it was removed from the membership in 2014. And what was the reason behind for remove? Because Russia occupied Ukraine province called Crimea in 2014, and because of this reason, other seven member means they removed Russia from G7. Okay, it was G8. Now again, it known as become a G7 in 2014. Okay, this is a little bit history is important. Now, this is the China's Belt and Road Initiative. This map will help you to understand China's Belt and Road Initiative. This is called road connectivity that China start from China, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan. You see how it connected with the Belgium, France, Italy, Poland, all these countries, European countries. Actually, this is a route through which China can do a trade. China can export their finished product to different part of the European country and Asian country. This is called a land route. Okay, this is the land route, and this blue color indicate a sea route. Okay, so this sea route start from, you see, entire part of China, South China Sea also include, Indian Ocean also include, and how it connect with the part of Africa through this is the Red Sea. Through from Red Sea it enter into a Mediterranean Sea, and from Mediterranean Sea again it connect with the European country. So by the help of this diagram, you can easily identify that how both this route, land route and sea route, encircling India. Okay, India is encircling from both north and south side because of China's policy. Okay, and you know, at present time, when we talk about the strategic, geostrategic significance of Indo-Pacific region is very important. This is called Indo-Pacific region. Now, this is considered as a major sea route at present time. Most of the world trade is happening through Indo-Pacific region. But because of this China's Belt and Road Initiative, China is dominant in this part. That's why USA and the formation of the Quad. Okay, Australia, Japan, India, USA, four countries joined hand together to set up a Quad, one organizations that again to combat China's Belt and Road Initiative. Okay, so this B3W is again a one initiative that was started with G7 country to combat China's Belt and Road Initiative. Now, let's talk about some point about the China's Belt and Road Initiative. So it was launched in 2013. Okay, it involves development and investment initiative that would stretch from Asia to Europe and beyond. So development and investment by China, so that they can able to develop a market in Asia, then Europe and beyond, means that include your Africa. Okay, more than 100 countries have signed agreement with China to cooperate in Belt and Road Initiative projects like railways, okay, ports, highway, and other infrastructure. Because African countries and some Asian countries like Kyrgyzstan, these countries, and some Southeast Asian countries required infrastructure development, and these countries are not economically more stronger, so that they can take care themselves. They can able to do investment for infrastructure development. If China is offering a very low rate, if very low rate interest is China is offering this country, the government of this country very easily accepted the proposal because they want infrastructure development in their own country. So every country want a railway, good railway connectivity, a port for export and import of things. Highway should be there. Another school and education and health infrastructure is required. So 100 countries already signed the agreement with China. They cooperate the China government for purpose called Belt and Road Initiative. Now, since its inception, outward investment has been aggressive. China's FDI means foreign direct investment. FDI is different from your FII, that is called foreign institutional investment. FDI is actually a setup of industries. Okay, it will bring employment generation in a particular country. If a country A is set up industry in country B, it means it will be a long period. The purpose of such investment is for a long period. And foreign institutional investor is like that only invest money in capital market, so that they can also enter in India, enter any country in a very short period of time, and also will be easily come out. So there is no any continuity of FII, but FDI is always present. Okay, so it outflow to inflow ratio increased from 0.34 during 2001 to 2. So in volume terms, the FDI outflow increased to an average $140 billion in 2016-19 from annual average 25 billion during 2001. Now, how fast China is doing investment in these countries for a setup of the more industries. Okay, so China investing in Africa also because Africa is those country who are sharing a border with Indian Ocean, those country who are sharing a border with the Red Sea. That countries in port development is required. So that China is also doing investment in Africa. Okay, comprehensive transportation network transportation network is required for doing a trade because if those countries like Egypt, all these Somalia countries are sharing a border with Indian Oceans, if this country infrastructure will develop so that China can easily access the internal mid part of the Africa. Okay, those countries like Sudan country and those countries who are present in mid of the country continent that can also be accessed very easily if they can develop infrastructure development in port areas. China has also signed a various contact with East Asian regions, mostly focusing on transportation, railway, roadways, and waterways for better integration between China and ASEAN countries. Now, some important project of China, like very important called China-Pakistan Economic Corridor. Okay, that is called Bangladesh, China, and the Myanmar Economic Corridor. And the Colombo Port City project in Sri Lanka, among the other, are important part of Belt and Road Initiative project. China has planned to complete 4,000 kilometer railway and 10,000 kilometer highway within Central Asian region as a part of Belt and Road Initiative. Okay, you have to write the in answer all this important project that was started under Belt and Road Initiative. So this is the part of Kashmir, Jammu and Kashmir part, and this is the Pakistan occupied Kashmir. Okay, that's why India is not accepting this Belt and Road Initiative with China because it passes through Pakistan, China-Pakistan Economic Corridor that passes through a part of Pakistan occupied Kashmir. Okay, without taking means you can say order from the Indian government, China already do investment. Okay, so that is the main concern for Indian government. Okay, why China is doing investment? Also, China bringing their military, all their means military leaders there, and that violating the peace of local areas. Okay, now what is India concerned about the Belt and Road Initiative? So India has expressed concern about the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor as it traverses through Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. Okay, the massive infrastructure project connect China's Xinjiang province with Gwadar port in Pakistan. Okay, Balochistan province. So India refused to join the Chinese initiative in the past and raised the voice against the Belt and Road Initiative. Multiple times Chinese government have given a proposal for Indian government to join the part. They become the part of Belt and Road Initiative. Even in two informal summit where Chinese president visited our country. And main purpose of visiting informal summit is to convince India to become a part of Belt and Road Initiative. But India have concern about why China is doing investment in those disputed part of India that is called Pakistan occupied Kashmir, which is not present, which is not means clear that whether it's a part of the India or Pakistan. Pakistan is illegally occupied that part of India. So China should take a decision from the Indian government. So without approval of the Indian government, this create a problem. India also seen as the adverse trade impact on its product competitiveness, market access, resource extraction, etc. due to Chinese competition. Okay, so in comparison with B3W focuses on softer outcomes. Okay, so as these are some important points about the Belt and Road Initiative. Means China is doing investment. China is focusing on infrastructure development, but the intention of China is very different. This is not a welfare intention. China actually want to occupy large part of the world. But when you compare the B3W, as B3W and China's Belt and Road Initiative both have main objective is for infrastructure investment, infrastructure development. But there is a difference in their intention. G7 initiative is actually focused on softer outcomes, namely improvement in climate. China is not focusing on climate and health. The main purpose is China's main investment in only those areas where China can able to access market. Okay, China will not do any investment for infrastructure development, for a school. They will not talk about the school education, for removing poverty of any of the country. China will only do investment for a development of ports. Okay, development of industries, so that they can able to keep their products for a long period of time. But in case of B3W, focuses on other areas also. Apart from infrastructure, it focuses on climate, it focuses on health, okay, health security, it focuses on modernized digital technology. As you know, all over the world, we are talking about digital technology. So China is a B3W will be focused on this area. And gender equity and equality. This is very important to talk about gender equality. Okay, nobody is talking about there should not be a discrimination against the women in any of the cases. So that's why B3W focus more on gender equity and equality. Okay, this is the main difference between B3W and Belt and Road Initiative. Now, why it is a need for B3W? Now, today the developing world faces a staggering 40 trillion infrastructure investment gap that undermines the global development and sustains poverty. Okay, there is a gap. 40 trillion dollar infrastructure development investment is required in low and middle income countries. So, because of this reason, poverty is again is present, continually present in different part of Asia countries. So main purpose here is, if we will focus on infrastructure development, focus on climate, health, obviously employment opportunity will be raises, health will be a good, women empowerment will be improved, and better situation will be developed in low and middle income countries. Okay, like without critical infrastructure like stable power grids, hospitals, high speed internet, environmental resilience, roads and ports, these are called a critical infrastructure. Critical infrastructure are those infrastructure which is, you can say, it's called a backbone of economy. Any country's economy backbone is like power grids. Electricity supplies should be very well available to different part. Hospitals should be present. High speed internet, we are, because everything is now work internet. Even because of the COVID-19 pandemic, everything is now digital. Okay, everybody is depend on internet. But what is the main problem in India? There is a low speed internet. A high speed internet should be there, so that smoothly every work should be done on time. Okay, environmental resilience, we talk about the environment, we talk about the sustainable development. Okay, we talk about the biodiversity, how we can conserve biodiversity. A forest cover should be increased, road and ports, these are called critical infrastructure. Economies around the world are unable to modernize or provide for their population. That's why B3W objective with TW is broad objective, and a Belt and Road Initiative of China is actually focused only in one area, that is a infrastructure development, only those part where this will be easy for a China to access the market. Okay, now China's Belt and Road Initiative is set to invest more than 1 trillion across more than 60 countries around the world to meet the glaring need of infrastructure. So China's investment 1 trillion, actual requirement is 40 trillion infrastructure dollar. This much a huge amount of money is required for infrastructure investment in those areas. Of course, Belt and Road loans come with significant strings attached and model utterly lacking transparency. See, China's in doing investment, but there is no any transparency. Nobody have a can ask China what is your purpose for doing investment. China is never disclose all these things. On good governance, there is no any good governance, and labor or environmental standard. And China's infrastructure investment are a Trojan horse. It is said a Trojan horse to help to expand political, economic, military reach at tremendous cost to host nation and America's strategy expense. So this China's Belt and Road Initiative clearly indicate that main objective here is to be a dominant in those part of area. So during as America is not happy with this Belt and Road Initiative, that's why America continuously start a two important initiative. One is called a Quad, okay, where India, China, India, Japan, Australia, and USA are the member, and other one is called B3W that was started by G7 countries. Okay, to combat China's Belt and Road Initiative. Okay, this is clear. So this is one important information you should know for prelims exam. Now, another important news that was recently 2 days back was about the water sectors in India and about the water crisis in India. So we can relate this potential of geospatial technologies for the water sectors in India. You can relate this news with the GS paper one. Okay, GS paper one, part of the geography and the water problems in India, and what are the important solution or initiative taken by the government of India to fight against this problem in our country. Now, water crisis. This is called a potential of geospatial technologies for the water sectors in India. Actually, this is the name of the report. Okay, this is called a name of the report, a potential for geospatial technology for the water sector in India. In prelims exam, they can ask you, recently this report is published by which of the following industry or which of the following organization. So why it was in news? Now this news very clearly indicate that something related with the water sectors in India, something related with the water crisis in India, how Indian government tackles such a crisis in our country, and how we should know the problems, actual problems of water in different part of our country. Okay, so why it was in news? So it was news because to support the government combat water crisis, okay, pervasive challenge, and to ensure better water management in the country, the Association of Geospatial Industries, a geospatial technology industry body, has released a report titled called Potential of Geospatial Technologies for the Water Sector in India. Now, this is very clear that this is the name of the report, and this is the report actually given some suggestion. This report will give some information to Government of India to how government can combat the water crisis, how government should make a policies for a better water management in our country. And this report is actually published and or we can say released by the Association of Geospatial Industries. Okay, now let's discuss in detail about this report, and we'll also talk about water problem, actual water problems in our country. Okay, so outlining the key water sector programs and projects in the country, the report provide an overview how each of these programs is currently using geospatial technologies. Now you know very well Namami Gange program. Okay, and Namami Gange program is the most important program of the government of India to make Ganga river free from pollution. Okay, a proper water should be available for those who are located very close to the river. Okay, biodiversity conservation, Gangetic dolphins should be conserved. Okay, these are all the purpose of Namami Gange program. So Namami Gange program is very is not, it will be not possible to achieve its objective without some technologies required. So technologies in the sense that required to know the actual problems related with the water. What are the important chemicals that are mixed with the water that cause diseases in those area of Bihar and Bengal. Okay, how to improve technology adoption in the future. Over 60 water and geospatial technology experts from across the country provide input for this report. Now, what report it said? According to the report published recently, geospatial and digital technology like satellite-based remote sensing, surveying and mapping, GPS-based equipment and sensor, GIS, and spatial analytics, artificial intelligence, big data analytics, Internet of Things, 5G, robotics, and digital twins can be effectively used to combat the water crisis. So these are the technology we are using right now for a water crisis, to fight against the water crisis, for a better water management plan in our country. Okay, report said that if we will use the data that provided by satellite based data like remote sensing, surveying, the mapping, GPS based equipment, sensor, GIS, and spatial analytics, artificial intelligence, you know very well that develop machines that think like a human beings, big data analytics, Internet of Things, 5G, robotics. Actually, we are including technologies in those area where it is very difficult for our human beings to understand the problem and to find the solution for a better future. So in that case, a technology is very important here. Okay, so given the population density and the requirement of water for agriculture, India is heavily dependent on groundwater and is one of the worst hit country as far as the water crisis is concerned. Government is making a lot of effort to tackle this situation. See, artificial intelligence actually, what is the meaning of artificial intelligence? Artificial intelligence is a type, we create a one machine. Okay, we can say a type of machines that can think like a human beings. Okay, our intelligence, human intelligence. So how we are doing a planning? Okay, so if we know the problem, suppose we know that Maharashtra state have a groundwater problem. Okay, now as a policy maker, you will think some solutions. So instead of thinking by human beings, that will be think by a machine. Okay, artificial intelligence is very play a very important role that help in doing a proper planning. Okay, proper planning by the government and to find the better solution. Okay, so in such a case, artificial intelligence will be a very helpful for the government for to finding a solution to making a plan how we can able to find do a better water management and fight against the all the water crises. Okay, now India is heavily dependent on the groundwater and is one of the worst hit countries as far as the water crisis is concerned. Government is making a lot of efforts to tackle this situation. Now, water crisis problem, especially the groundwater, as entire agriculture, 60% of the agriculture is depend on monsoon. And some year, monsoon is not surplus, monsoon is not normal, sometimes a deficit in rainfall. So in that case, agriculture cropping required a groundwater, especially in those area in South India, Maharashtra, these areas where a groundwater is more exploitative for the agriculture because of the introduction of sugarcane in South India, and sugarcane is a type of crop which required more water. So these are the problems that you see in different part of India. So for solving such a problems, we required a proper, better management. Okay. Now, availability of the clean water to all for personal, industrial, and agriculture use will not only ensure India reaches vision for becoming US can 5 trillion economy dollar, 5 trillion economic dollar, but will also enable our country to achieve the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal. So, what is the main Sustainable Development Goal? There are total number of 17 goals and 169 targets are there. Okay, so ability to clean water is one of the important goal under Sustainable Development Goal, and our main objective also to reach a 5 trillion economy. Okay, so how we able to achieve our target if we will not provide a clean water? See, clean water and all personal, industrial, and agriculture, our food security is depend on availability of the water, as 60% of the agriculture is depend on monsoon, and because of the climate change, monsoon rainfall is not sufficient in any part of our country, so we mostly depend on groundwater. So how we can able to manage in those, especially in those area where demand is very high and supply water is very less? So how we can manage all these things that required a improvement of technology is very important here. Okay, with the help of this report, we hope that professional dealings with water resources and water utility management are able to increase their use of geospatial technologies to deliver better result. Now we see continuously we are using the word called geospatial technologies. For prelims point of view, they can ask you question about geospatial technologies. And for main purpose in mains exam, this will be a question maybe in your GS paper 3, agriculture or problems, economic geography के problem में आ सकता है, and maybe in a problem related with the environment, or in GS paper 1, the part of your geography. Very clearly mentioned in your syllabus that water crisis or any of the water related issues in India, that will be your part of syllabus. Okay, so how we can use a geospatial technologies to fight against this water crisis and for better management. Okay, let's first understand the water sectors in India problems. So total, India has about 17% of the world population, but only about 4% of the world's fresh water reserves, and is currently facing a severe water challenge. And this is the present situation in our country. Okay, 4% of the world's fresh water reserve. So India receives 300 billion cubic meters of water every year through rainfall or other sources such as glaciers. Himalayan rivers, entire Himalayan river is depend on their actually water is getting from the melting of the glaciers. That's why Himalayan rivers are called perennial rivers, where a source of water is available throughout the year. Of this, only 8% is collected. So see, out of 100%, only 8% of water is collected, and rest of the water is wasted that drain into Bay of Bengal and you can say Arabian Sea. Okay, so what actually required here? We have to conserve the water. Okay, India's fills groundwater aquifers at the rate of 458 BCM per year, while it extracts the around 650 BCM of water from the earth. Now, 89% of India's water resources are used for agriculture, out of which 65% is withdrawn from under the ground. See, these are the some data you should write in your answer when you will write about the water sector, water problems in India. At least you should this much amount of data is very important. Okay, so that you can write, and then you can also write about this solution. Okay, main significance. You see, geospatial technology will help government to understand the water crisis, which part of India actually water crisis problem, and how we can able to plan a better management. Water management is the most important objective here, as a lot of water related project is running in our country. Okay, and inter river linking project also run by the government of India, where we connect a surplus wherever the river water have a surplus water, and that connect with the deficit river. So actually, what required here is planning. How we can better management. Water crisis is a major problem. Groundwater. So if we have a data, okay, like this part of India, for example, eastern northeastern part of India, there is a problem water crisis. Western part of India, where there is a required more rainfall, so that we can able to plan a better management system. Okay, so that is the main purpose here for your geospatial technology. Geospatial technology is not a single technology. It contain two, three like artificial intelligence. We say like your digital twin is also given. Okay, digital twin is like creating a more type of digitals so that able to understand the actual world. Okay, the one of the India's biggest challenge is to conserve the groundwater. Okay, what is the main challenge in India? Conserve the water. Groundwater is conservation is main challenge. Okay, someone is asking for 458 BCM. Okay, it is called billion cubic meters. Okay. Now, water stress, as per Niti Aayog, what Niti Aayog say that report, currently 820 million people in 12 major river basin of India face extreme water stress in our country. Okay. Now, what is the qualitative issue? Adding to the issue, lack of water availability is the issue of water quality. Main problem is water quality is the main problem. It's not available clearly available in sufficient amount to each and every person. So groundwater is one third of India's 600 districts is contaminated mainly through fluoride and arsenic, especially in the state of Bihar and West Bengal. You know very well that people of these two states are completely that rely on river waters like Ganga River. So they are mixing with the contaminated with the chemicals called fluoride and arsenic, because their lack of quality water is very disturbed there. There has been 136% increase in the number of grossly polluting industries between 2011 to 2018, according to the State of India's Environment Report 2019. Now, question is here, how you can define these geospatial technologies. So geospatial technology is a term used to describe the range of modern tools, okay, contributing to the geographic mapping and analysis of the earth and human society. Okay, it is a type of tools. Okay, with the help of technologies, we can mapping the problems. Okay, of the earth, whether it's related with the availability of the resources. If you want to know where uranium is actually located, which part of India where uranium is mostly present, which part of India where iron ore is more. Okay, so in such a case, mapping is very will be helpful, and we can do a better management or do a planning for extraction of these resources. So this term geospatial referred not to one single technology, but a collection of technologies that help to collect analyze, store, manage, distribute, integrate, and present geographic information. So broadly speaking, it consists of the following technology. Called first is called remote sensing. Remote sensing technology like Earth observation satellite, remote sensing. Okay, that understand the soils, quality of soils, groundwater. Okay, rivers, glaciers to know glaciers which part Himalaya glacier is melting more or not. GIS called Geographic Information System. GNSS called Global Navigation Satellite System, survey and 3D modeling. This collectively, this all technologies when work together, we can say it is called geospatial technologies. And the main purpose is here is to mapping our Earth systems and human society, so that we can do a better management. So geospatial technology enable better measurement, management and maintenance of assets, monitoring of resources, and even providing a predictive and prescriptive analysis for forecasting and plant interventions. This is the initiative, a purpose of geospatial. Okay. Now our next news that is related with the current your international relation is called China-led South Asian Initiative. This is called China-led South Asian Initiative. So why it was in news recently? Recently, Bangladesh has invited India to join the China-led South Asian Initiative for COVID-19 vaccine and poverty alleviation. So see, Bangladesh has invited India to join this China-led South Asian Initiative. And what is the main purpose of this? How we can able to means deal with the situation that is happened because of COVID-19, and we can able to distribute the medicines and other equipments uh, among these countries, and for the poverty alleviation program. So it includes the creation of China South Asian countries emergency supply reserves and a poverty alleviation and cooperative development center set up in China. That's why it was in news, China-led South Asian Initiative. Now, what exactly this program, this initiative? The China South Asian Countries Emergency Supply Reserve and Poverty Alleviation and Cooperative Development Center were set up in China on 8 July 2021. So this is the current recent setup of this initiative. The China South Asian Center is being established in southern Chinese city called Zhongqing. Okay, and the member include China, Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka. This is very, very important. India is not a member. Bangladesh has given a proposal for India to join a China-led South Asian initiative. Okay, so present member of this initiative are China, Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka. Now, India, Bhutan, and Maldives are other SAARC countries that are not the part of this initiative. This is very important statement. So, India, Bhutan, Maldives, these are the countries. They are a part of the SAARC countries. They are not the member of China South Asia Initiative. So, when it was set up, and what is the purpose, genesis? So, when Bangladesh requests China for vaccine, China suggests setting up e-commerce economic cooperation forum. Okay, when Bangladesh they request for China, they required more vaccines. So in return, China suggests that setting up e-commerce economic cooperation forum. What is the main purpose of this forum? It is an emergency storage facility for vaccines. Okay, which would also work as a poverty alleviation center and to deal with economic issues, crisis, okay, issues arising in South Asia due to COVID-19. So poverty that is spread very rapidly as people are not able, they are mostly are lost their job, and the source of income is nothing, so they are become a poor. Okay, so those who are affected because of this COVID-19, they become a poor. So under this initiative, they will able to get a job. They have some financial need will be fulfilled. That was suggested by the China. That purpose is called e-commerce economic cooperation forum and emergency storage facility for vaccine. So Foreign Minister of China, Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Nepal, Pakistan, and Sri Lanka held a meeting in April and set it up. Okay, at that time it appeared to leave out only India, Bhutan, and the Maldives. So all the foreign minister of these countries seated together, and they said that we should start up one initiative where we will provide. There should not be a problem, any problem with the vaccines. Vaccines should be available very easily for each and every members. Okay, and those who are become poor because of the COVID-19, they lost their jobs, There many families are there who's only one bread earners and who died because of the COVID-19. So that they have given some access financial needs. Okay, so that they set up this initiative. So what is the main vision? China has different kind of strategic called strategic, maritime, political, and ideological interest with different South Asian nations. So it is increasing its engagement with each country on equal footing to counterbalance India. Now this is the main purpose. Actually, China want to counter India also, and those countries who are sharing a border with India, okay, like Nepal, Bangladesh, okay, Sri Lanka, okay, these are the some countries, Myanmar, countries, Pakistan. These are the countries who are sharing the border with India. So China wants to make a good relation with these countries because India's main, when we talk about India's foreign policy, so the first important thing we talk about neighborhood first. Means we have to make a good relation with our neighbor countries. Like we have a good relation with Nepal, we should make a good relation with Myanmar, Bhutan, okay, Bangladesh, so that we are able to means protect our country from external threats, those countries which are very far. So main intention behind the China that setup of this initiative is to make a good relation with these countries' government like Bangladesh that will develop a trust. Means instead of trusting of Indian government, Bangladesh trust to China. Okay, Nepal government trust to China, as Nepal economy is entirely depend on India's doing a trade. Okay, so it's like a sometime we can say convincing these local countries so that they can start a develop a trust among the China instead of doing India. So what India say that giving continuing tension over the China's People Liberation Army aggression at the line of actual control in Ladakh, India's stand is that other bilateral relation cannot be moved ahead without resolution of the boundary standoff. So India said that I will not join this initiative until we have first find the solution for all these boundary disputes. Okay, that happened. Your army, your military always means cross the border and they create violate the all international boundary line. Okay, so first of all, you have to stop all this type of insurgency or in such type of small war that is happened among the borderline. Then we will think about to join any type of initiative. Okay, if you will join initiative and you are continuously doing violating all these international rules, then obviously this will be not fruitful for us. What are the important issues associated with this initiative? This initiative seems to be a China's strategy to contain and undermine India's role in South Asia. This can be reflected in the following arguments. Now, this is a one initiative by the China again, where they want to decrease the role of India. India actually want to make a good relation with other countries in South Asia. Okay, but this initiative is somewhere something which also means disturb the India's in means peace and security in South Asia. Because this is called a minus India initiative. So combination of all SAARC member countries other than India, Bhutan, and Maldives led some experts say that this was meant to minus India initiative. As you know, all apart only these three countries are not the part of the this initiative. All other SAARC member are the part of this initiative. So we can say it's called minus India initiative. Diluting India's role in South Asia. This initiative is one of the China's attempt to make inroads in South Asia. Okay, the Chinese push to this regional grouping comes also at a time when India has been reluctant to revive SAARC, turning its focus more on another regional bloc, BIMSTEC. As you when you compare the SAARC and BIMSTEC, now India's foreign policy is more dominant in BIMSTEC. India means instead of making a good relation with the SAARC, okay, India's foreign policy is to make a good relation with those countries who are the member of the BIMSTEC. So India has already started its initiative for making good cooperation with the South Asian countries. That China knows very well that if China will not interfere in such areas, then obviously one time will become when all this country will be have a good relation with India, and China will not able to dominate in such small countries. That's why China is doing started such initiative for in terms of poverty alleviation programs, all these things. Countering Quad, you know, Quad is initiative four countries. The China-led bloc could be it's a plan to create a what some call the Northern Himalayan Quad, aimed countering the US-led Quad, of which India is an active member. So China also have a fear in their mind that Quad, where four countries like India, Australia, Japan, and USA all are means joint hand together to combat China's Belt and Road Initiative, especially in Indo-Pacific region. What are the important initiatives started by the India in South Asia? So in early 2021, India driven its neighborhood first policy and its understanding of its role as the net security provider for the region began providing COVID-19 vaccine on a priority basis to its immediate neighbors. So vaccine diplomacy, you can in exam maybe they can use the word vaccine diplomacy about India. So vaccine diplomacy actually meaning is how India is helping its neighboring countries for providing a free medical devices which actually required. Okay, India is also helping with the training of the health worker in some of this country and the setting up infrastructure to administer the shots. Now, recently, India, Japan, Australia have formally launched Supply Chain Resilience Initiative. This is again a very important Supply Chain Resilience Initiative recently started by which of the following countries? So it was started by India, Japan, and Australia. Okay, and what is the main purpose of this Supply Chain Resilience Initiative? Is it aims to produce it aims to reduce dependence on China, okay, amid a likelihood for returning of supply chains in the Indo-Pacific region amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Okay, so main purpose of this initiative is supply chain initiative that is started by India, Japan, Australia, is to dependent means reduce the dependence on China for doing trade and supply chains, that is supplying of the COVID-19 vaccines to all these countries. However, India for years has struggled to match the pace of Chinese investment in countries such as Sri Lanka, Nepal, and Maldives, where China is building a ports, road, and power station as part of the Belt and Road Initiative. Recently, the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, a mega trade bloc comprising 15 countries led by China, has come into existence. It has kept the door for India open. You know, last year, India decided not to join the part of Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership because this is a considered a very large free trade agreement that was signed between among the 15 countries. But India is not be a part of Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement. Now, another important international news that was news called Nord Stream 2 pipeline project. First of all, in prelims exam, they can ask you this pipeline project is between among which two countries? Okay, Nord Stream 2 pipeline project between Germany and Russia. Okay, you see in the map, this is the Russia and this is the Germany. This is called a gas pipeline that is set up between countries called Germany and Russia. So this is the dotted line. This dotted line is a one pipeline project. Okay, that is run from a Baltic Sea. This is the important to know for map purpose in exam. Maybe they can ask you a question. Which of the following countries that make a border with Baltic Sea? You see the Finland, Sweden, Norway, okay, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, okay, Poland, then Germany. So this is the pipeline project that run between the Russia and Germany. Now, why it was in recently the US has approved the completion of the Nord Stream 2 pipeline project between Russia and Germany. Okay, so this is the project that is run between the two countries called Russia and Germany. What about this all project? So it was in December 2019. Work on the project was suspended due to the threat of US sanction. So US provided a sanction on Russia for a setup of this pipeline project that passes through a Baltic Sea. So in January 2021, the US imposed sanction on Russian ship tasked with laying pipes for the project. Now the US and Germany reached a deal on the Nord Stream 2 pipeline. Now US and Germany both have reached the deal on Nord Stream 2 pipeline, and now again this project will be start, and Russian ship will be now set up this pipeline that run from Russia to Germany for the supply of the natural gas. Now US-Germany deal lay out the if Russia attempt to use energy as a weapon or commit further aggressive act against Ukraine. Okay, Germany will take steps on its own and push for action at the European Union, including sanction to limit Russian export capabilities to Europe in the energy sector. Now, because of dependence, Germany and other European countries will be more depend on supply of resources from Russia. Because once this pipeline will be set up, okay, now this will be provide natural gas. So European country will be a more depend on Russia's natural gas. Okay, so this is a deal that was signed between US and Germany, that if Russia will use this energy as a weapon or commit further aggressive acts against Ukraine, that was happened 2014. Okay, that occupied Crimea, that was occupied by the Russia. If any such things will be happen in future, then Germany will take a step. Okay, and other countries, US will support Germany to suspend this pipeline, suspend the supply of this natural gas that is coming from the Russia. Okay. Now about this Nord Stream 2 pipeline. So in 2014, 2015, the Russia energy major company called Gazprom, okay, and 5 other European firms decided to build Nord Stream 2, which is valued about $11 billion. This is the project about $11 billion. This is the total length is 1200 kilometers of this pipeline will run from Ust-Luga in Russia to Greifswald in Germany through a Baltic Sea and will carry 55 billion cubic meter of gas per year. Okay, the under construction pipeline will run along with the already completed Nord Stream 1 system, and 2 together will supply aggregate 110 billion cubic meters of gas Germany per year. The pipeline fall in the territory of European Union members, Germany and Denmark, and 98% is now completed. Okay, so this news will be helpful to know about the project Nord Stream 2 pipeline that is between your Russia and Germany. Okay, this is for all today's current affair. We will also have next week when we will meet, then we will do another important current affair. Okay, if you have any doubt, you can ask me a question. This PDF file will be uploaded today and you can download it. So whenever you read a current affair, try to frame a question. Okay, whatever you are reading any of the news, you try to frame a question. You can try to frame an objective question also. Okay, try to know what type of question will be come from the particular topic. Okay, so these things you will develop when you will see a past year question paper. Okay, once you have an idea of the past year question paper, you know very well, then you can understand it. Okay, you have any doubt, you can ask me a question. Or you can download the PDF file from your expression.ai. Okay, thank you. Good night to everyone.